Hey, what's going on, guys? It's a wonderful day because today is the day when I can finally check out the Master Grade Gelgoog Cannon here. Now, I'm a big fan of the Gelgoog, and over the past few years, I've been really hoping that Bandai will eventually reissue the Master Grade 1.0 Gelgoog because the 2.0 is fantastic. I love it, but I've never built the 1.0. And this version is even more cool because with the Gelgoog Cannon 1.0 kit here, you have some options here. You can make it as like the red Johnny Ridden's version there, or you can make it as the MSV version there. Now, I'm pretty sure the kit is actually molded in red, but it just gives you some sample images and decals for making it as the MSV version, which is also really cool. So anyway, I'm really excited to check this one out. Let's go ahead and get into it for today's video. It's an awesome box art here on the front. It's in that really cool kind of old school Master Grade style, and the box size is kind of like that medium size. It's not like the smaller Master Grade size, and it's not the larger size, which is standard now. This is a kind of medium size that they used to have, sort of like the larger size at that time. Anyway, we just got this really awesome CG render artwork there of the Johnny Ridden's Gelgoog as like for kind of the main image, and the Gelgoog Cannon itself, or like the MSV Gelgoog Cannon down there, just kind of like in the corner of the box art. You can also see that this kit was released back in 1997 originally. And on this side of the box here, you can see what the kit is going to look like front and back, all painted and decaled up. It's got the decal markings on there, shows some different photos of the details and gimmicks of the different hand option parts, the burner there under the back skirt, and around here on the other side of the box. Here we've got more images of the kit just painted in a little bit different styling there. And then this has the different armaments, the different head for the MSV Gelgoog Cannon there. You can see some more detailed images of that as well. So it's got the launcher, the shield on the forearms, whereas the Johnny Ridden's type does not. All right, popping it open, let's check out the contents inside here. It looks like we're gonna have a couple of different types of stickers and markings there that we can use for this. First of all, we've got this awesome sheet of dry transfer decals there with some of the larger markings and numbering markings there. We don't necessarily have a whole lot of like caution markings here with this kit, and usually not on dry transfer sheets. But here on the sticker decal sheet, you can see there's some more markings, and then here we have some more of the smaller caution markings there in white, yellow, and a couple little bits there in red, as well as a little sticker for the mono eye as well. All right, and checking out the instruction manual here, we've got the Johnny Ridden's logo up there on the top in this background looking very like blood, sort of. Kind of looks a bit odd there. But classic old school Master Grade style manual here on the backside. A couple of really nice big reference images there of the painted kit, front and back, so you can see how the colors and decals look there on that. On the front inside pages here, a whole bunch of text, but then more importantly, this beautiful illustration there, sort of like armor half on, half off. You can see that on the front and the back of the Gelgoog. Those really cool mechanical illustrations there. On the next page, we do have some more of that with all of the armor on. That's for like the B type and the C type, so you can see just kind of the different armaments and backpack colors are going to look, but really nice line art there. The next page has some more of the CG renders here in black and white there, showing kind of the different versions and different information there. This also has our part guide for the different parts of the design. Continuing on with some more information, we're not yet to the build yet, but here on the next page we have more about the pilot, Johnny Ridden there, a couple of illustrations for the marking, also of his high mobility type Zaku, and then some more mechanical illustrations and line art here for the different head types we've got for this, including mechanical illustration there of the arm and shoulder as well. The next page then, we're finally getting into the construction, and this is that old school style construction layout where it's kind of all over the place. We've got our center pages here with some really cool images there of the two different Gelgoog types there flying in space, some really nice marking reference images there for us. The color guide, and we're gonna have a color guide for both versions, and that's all just kind of all there, all in one. Basically just red and then like tan and dark green for the main armor colors. Continuing on with the construction there's actually not a whole lot of construction here in the manual. It's just a couple of pages. There's actually a lot more just like information and art here in the manual than the construction, which is cool to see. As you can see, we just got more of these mechanical illustrations here, something that is sorely missed in the newer Master Grade manuals, that is for sure. More illustrations there of the backpack and the weapons here, and as well as some information there, all in Japanese as well, of course. Once we got through the final construction of the kit and you choose the backpack, basically choose the type, then we have our parts list, which is usually at the beginning, but in this case, it's at the very end of the manual. So some really interesting stuff in here. First of all, we have this piece in this soft rubber, kind of spongy piece here. I'm not sure, I think we're gonna end up cutting this, and this is gonna go into like the shoulder joint between the torso and the shoulder armor, I believe, so that should be interesting. We've also got 2 of these black mesh cloth tubes here. These are about 20 centimeters in length each. And then getting into the actual runners here, we have PC111, actually 2 of those for a lot of polycaps there in gray. The A runner here is a nice big full runner of a whole bunch of red parts, including parts for the head. Our pilot figures are on here as well, parts for both versions of the head and multiple different versions of the pilot figures, multiple different versions of the antenna on the head. So you can see a lot of the variant parts on here. And I will say, as was unfortunately to be expected, the red plastic does feel like that kind of old school red plastic that if you guys have ever used it before, you know exactly what I mean by that, but it's nothing that a little paint won't help. Runner B here is in this light warm gray color there for some of the mechanical bits inside. And then runner C we have 2 of for some more of the red armor parts. Runner D, to kind of go back and forth between the red and the grays, we're back to a couple of gray runners here. So we have 2 of runner D. One cool thing to point out to you guys, something that's a remnant of something that Bandai just doesn't do unfortunately anymore with older master grades. So you can see we have these little option parts here along the side, some little option vent parts, and then over on the other side of the runner, some little option hook parts. Now those are just on there as just extra bits that you can add for more detail if you want. It's always really nice to have those included, because even if you don't end up using them for this kit, you can just keep those and use them on a different kit. Runner E then is another larger runner here of some more red parts for the armor. Runner F is one that you might have expected to be the A runner by modern standards, but not exactly in this case. We've got some black parts over here on this side, red parts here, a couple of clear parts there, and then our clear blue parts for the beam naginata effect parts up there. Runner G here in this kind of dark navy color is unfortunately some parts for around in a couple different parts of the kit, but including the hand parts here. So these are going to be in the kind of softer type of plastic material. These are definitely going to end up getting replaced on mine. Lastly then, another runner here in that warm gray is going to be runners K1 and K2 that are joined here at the center for some of the parts for the Gelgoog Cannon in particular, and you can see it's kind of separated. I think these are part 4, like the B type and C type, something like that, but you can just snap that runner apart there in the center, and that's it for all of our parts. One thing also to note is that there's no ABS plastic, which is nice, but you can tell there's surely going to be plenty of seam lines on this. Let me go ahead and get it built up, and then we'll check it out. All right, then here he is all built up. It is definitely, I mean, you're definitely going to be feeling the age of this one for sure. Doesn't have a full inner frame in there. It does have some pretty cool gimmicks, and obviously as you're seeing it now, this is in the Johnny Riddens type of configuration. I will show it to you like with some of the parts swapping here in just a little bit, but seeing as how this is what's on the cover of the box, this is what I went for, but I do really like it with the actual like Cannon backpack on there as well. But yeah, it's an old kit, so you can expect there's going to be some seam line work to be done. It's not going to be, you know, the most articulated. It's not going to have the most details or gimmicks or anything like that. So it's kind of why I talk about how there's really quite a wide variety when it comes to the complexity in the Master Grade line just throughout the years. But all that said, if you ask me, I think the kit looks absolutely fantastic. I really like the look and the proportions and everything of this kit, so it definitely holds up very well in my opinion. But let's go ahead and get into it, and you guys can let me know what you think. Now, first of all, you're actually seeing it here in the gap between the body and the arms there without this piece installed yet. I wanted to put this in and like kind of show you guys how this would work. So you're meant to cut off these parts here on the end and then cut out this middle section to basically make these 2 stretchy sections that go in the arms there. So let's see how easy or how difficult this is actually going to be, because it's very soft and squishy. And so once we have that cut out, it fits over the kind of mechanical detail of the shoulder there, and our shoulder armor is going to fit over the top of that, which I will just take this moment to point out that there's no seam line on the shoulder armor, which is awesome. This is all just one solid piece and then a separate piece for like the vent detail there. Really actually quite nice, considering I surely expected that to be having a seam line on there. And there we go. Once those are in place, they do actually add some nice detail in there. So, you know, I wasn't expecting those to work all that well, but they actually do work quite nicely and were fairly easy to cut out. So that's pretty awesome. Right, so for our pilot figures, we do have a seated pilot figure here in the torso. And the reason I have the door off is because the door is not really on a hinge. you can kind of like try to place it back in there. If you wanted to have this open, I think you're probably just going to have to like glue this in place. I don't think it's going to stay there in like an open position. So yeah, you would definitely have to glue that, it seems. Otherwise, it's just going to be placed over the front of there like that. For our standing pilot figures, here we have two different options. One is Char, and then one is just kind of a standard Xeon pilot. And the same thing goes for inside the cockpit too. So if you wanted to have your Char in the cockpit, you could certainly do that. You have that as a leftover piece as well. But there's our just standing 1/100 scale pilot figures. And we do have an option for the antenna on the head if you wanted this more kind of stylish one, or that one. Again, I just went based off of basically what's on the front of the box. And then of course our different parts for the head. So it's not an entirely different head, it's just like the main front and back half of the head, and then like the part there at the back as well. So you can't just have two completely built heads and then just swap them. Unfortunately, there is some part swapping involved. Basically the interior of that to be the main mechanical piece, and then the mono eye piece and the clear lens piece. And so there's our two different options there for the head, both of which look really cool. Going down to the hands, then we have a couple of fixed pose hands, closed fists, and open resting hands here, both of which are in that kind of softer material there. And then we also have a set of articulated hands, which are kind of interesting in that the fingers are in that softer material, the rest of the hand is not. So the thumb's on a ball joint, the first finger's on a ball joint, and then the second, third, and fourth fingers are joined together on a single ball joint for those as well. So kind of your very early master grade type articulated hands here. Not the best, but we'll see how well those work. We honestly actually don't really have much to hold with this kit, as really the only handheld weapon is just going to be our beam naginata here, which we do have an attachment piece that you can plug that onto, and that's going to be for plugging this onto the back skirt here. You can remove that centerpiece and plug this onto there for storage when not in use. And then we've got our two different type of beam effect parts for that. You have a set of just these like long straight blades, and then you have a set of these curved blades here like that, both of which are going to be quite long. The straight blades are like even longer. So like just as a comparison to the main kit itself there, as you can see, and those being in clear blue do look pretty cool. Then we've got our arm mounted accessories. So again, depending on which version you want to make, you'll basically just remove this bit off this side of the arm and replace it with this one here like that. I think I have this on the wrong arm anyway, but you guys get the idea. Just going to be a matter of replacing that there like so. And then we also have this one, the Rats Raider, I think is the name of this one. It's a pretty funky name. So this is a couple more parts, whereas that one's basically just one piece. This is a few pieces that go together here to make this. And then of course the cannon backpack. So the cannon on this will move up and down. You will have a seam line going down the length of most of that until you get to this single barrel piece there. You also have both of these sections, which is the same on both backpacks, and those have seams on them as well. You can see the backpack here, those ones are the same there. So the two backpack options is certainly nice. It gives you some good options, especially if you have like the Gelgoog 2.0 Master Grade kit already, which doesn't have a backpack. You could use one backpack on this kit and give the extra backpack to your Gelgoog 2.0 kit, which has no backpack. So definitely a good option that I would recommend for you guys. So let's just go over the kit here in a little bit more detail. The mono eye actually can turn from side to side, but the dial to turn it is actually on the top of the head inside here. So you actually have to like disassemble the head in order to turn that. So it's basically just kind of a thing that you have to set the angle of the mono eye first before you finish the assembly of the head there. Unfortunately, it's kind of weird. I think they just hadn't quite figured that out yet. But here in the torso section, you do have a little bit of movement kind of forward and back between these sections there, and side to side, not really quite so much. Even rotation is going to be a little bit limited here just because of like the angles of these sections that fit together there. So not really a whole lot of movement there in the torso section. The shoulder will also move a little bit forward and back there, not a whole lot. You can bring the arm up to about 90 degrees, and you have a double joint in the elbow, which does give you a little bit more than 90 degrees there, not necessarily a whole lot much more. And then the wrist also has a joint that will swing the entire wrist joint forward and back a little bit there, and then the hand is on a ball joint. The skirt armor is really quite interesting to build because it's basically like two layers, but instead of what is essentially like an inner frame layer and then just kind of an outer shell layer, it's more sort of just kind of an inner shell and outer shell. I don't know. So there's not really any actual movement here in the skirt armor. Up underneath the skirt, these thruster bell parts here that do have a little bit of movement, and then you can adjust slightly if you want to. And then the hips are just attached via just kind of a ball and socket joint, so they are also going to be a little bit limited in your movement there. And just because of the skirt armor, you can't actually bring the leg up very high. The knee also, like with the elbow, has a double joint, but it is going to be kind of limited into really only having like not even about a 45-degree bend there maybe, so pretty limited for sure. And then going down to the feet here, the feet are pretty much entirely hollow. They're just these big hollow sections here. You might want to add some weights in them if you guys have seen people do that. You can just use like fishing weights and then hot glue or something like that, just to add some weights in the feet, just to make it a bit more bottom heavy there and not to fall over, because you just got these big hollow feet there. But you got some nice side to side movement here to be able to get like a fairly wide stance, about as wide as the hips will allow there basically. And then up underneath the feet, some nice detail here as well. And again, you can see the thruster bell details up on the inside. And you do have some like detail molded on the inside of some of the armor pieces here, which when painted will look nice, but that's really going to be kind of about it. You'll also notice obviously there's no point for attaching this onto an action base, so we'll just have to use the like forked prong action base adapter up underneath here to see how well that will hold that up. Otherwise, yeah, that's just about going to do it here for the kit. So we'll take a look at it in a few different poses here and changing up some of the armaments a little bit just to kind of give you guys an idea of how that's going to look. But obviously this is an old master grade, so it's not going to be the nicest in terms of having all the detail there on the inside and on the outside. It doesn't have the full inner frame, doesn't have even a ton of surface detail on the outside, and certainly has some limitations when it comes to the articulation and even getting it up onto a base for doing any sort of like flying poses or anything like that. So it doesn't exactly have all the bells and whistles that we expect from modern master grades, but considering, you know, how old the kit is, I think this kit is really nice. I think it holds up rather well, actually, just in terms of just like the proportions and everything of this. A lot of the older master grades, you know, they have all these similar kind of issues, plus the fact that the proportions maybe aren't as nice. With this one, I think just like the overall design, the proportions of it, I think it looks fantastic. It's a great looking kit. It can't really do quite as much as something like the 2.0. The 2.0 is also great. I would really recommend you guys to check that kit out if you haven't either. But this kit definitely still holds up rather well in my opinion. I'm really glad to finally be able to build this up. It was not available for a long time, you know, unless you're paying like high prices to get like a secondhand one. But considering this recently got reprinted, it's a great opportunity to check this out. I really hope that they'll reprint also just kind of the standard 1.0 Gelgoog as well, just because I would love to check out that kit. Obviously it's going to be, you know, for the most part the same, the main body, it'll just have a little bit different weapons and everything. So hopefully that kit will get reprinted as well. We'll take a look at that, but in the meantime, I'm really glad to see this one get reprinted, because actually this one is super cool. It's just as fun as I was hoping and expecting that it would be, and I definitely recommend it for you guys if this is something that you think that you might be interested in. It's definitely going to take a little bit of work if you really wanted to kind of do it up, more so than the 2.0 for sure. But I don't know, with the 2.0 you have like a lot more parts, so kind of with either version of the kits, either you have to spend a lot more time like prepping and doing modifications and stuff like with this kit, or you just have a lot more parts to work with the 2.0. So I don't know, either way you kind of can't really go wrong though. Both fantastic kits. Gotta love the Gelgoog. Definitely check them out, guys, if you're interested. The link to USA Gundam Store will be down in the video description below. I believe we do still have some of these in stock. Like I said, it just got reprinted, so grab one while you can, because it's probably going to be a while again before it gets reprinted, so you know, you don't want to miss out. But thank you guys so much for checking out the review here today. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. If you're not yet subscribed, of course you can subscribe as well. I really appreciate your guys' support. Thank you so much. Until next time, hope y'all are doing well. Bye guys.